Hello everyone, welcome to another vlog about the seaman life. In today's episode I will take you with me for a whole week and show you the jobs that I am doing, the food that I'm eating and the overall mood on board. For those that are here for the first time, I am an electrical officer. I work on board chemical tankers, product tankers, sometimes bulk carriers, but the vlog in today's episode will be on board a chemical tanker. Maybe you are a cadet and you will be coming on board anytime soon, or maybe you are just curious about the seaman life. And this is the purpose of the vlog. And if you enjoy the vlog, don't forget to hit that like button. Maybe you want to subscribe to the channel to see more about the seaman life. Like I said before, sometimes I show you the jobs that I'm doing or some good views like this amazing sky you are seeing right now, and sometimes I will have interview with the crew on board. I hope you will enjoy this vlog. In the morning time, when I'm on board, I do the same thing like when I'm home, and that means brushing my teeth and taking a shower. Now I have to go take the breakfast. If you are working in engine room, it is very important for you to take breakfast because the temperatures down there are between 45 and 48 Celsius degrees, and if you have an empty stomach, you will get dizzy because of the extreme heat, and it's better for you just to have a small bite to eat. Nobody is saying that you have to eat a T-bone or some steak, but some fried eggs, some tuna. When you are on board, fried eggs is what is the breakfast most of the time. Sometimes they have sardines, some juice, some milk, and that's about it. Nothing fancy, but at least to have something in your stomach, not to go down in engine room with an empty stomach. If there are no emergencies during the night or some standby procedure like going inside the port or leaving the port, usually we have a toolbox meeting at about 7:30 or 7:45 in the morning. This is where the engine crew gathers in engine control room, and together with the chief engineer and the second engineer, we decide what we will do during that day. Like I said, if there are no emergencies, then the chief engineer will decide what are the priorities. If he doesn't have any specific job, then we have to follow our PMS problem. If there are any postponing jobs or anything like that. On board this vessel we have a PMS system that is called AMOS, but it depends from company to company what is the name. After the toolbox meeting, I proceed to do my routine job, and every morning I start by checking the reefers. These are the reefers for our reefer room. The reefer room are special rooms where we keep our provision like the meat, the vegetables, milk and everything like that. So you can imagine this is very important. I check every morning that there are no freon leaks, the oil in the compressor is at the proper level, there are no abnormal noises. I check that the compressors are not overheating, and I want to be sure that everything is in good order. Also every Saturday I check the compressors with a special device, and I use that one to be sure that there are no freon leaks. This is the most important thing. Just like at your house, your refrigerator has a compressor, and if there are freon leaks and the compressor works without freon, it will burn. It cannot work like that, so you have to be very careful. And if you are coming on board as an electrician, you have to be sure that your reefers are working properly, otherwise it will be trouble. Also, as an electrician, I am in charge of the air condition machine for the accommodation. Usually it's either the electrician or the chief engineer who are responsible with this, because as you can imagine, if every crew member comes here and tries to make another set point for the thermostat in the cabin, we will damage this very soon. So we cannot have that, especially in the middle of the ocean where there are no spare parts. And after I check the aircon, I proceed to check the temperatures inside the reefer rooms. I want to be sure that everything is in good order, and after that I stop the system there and I go inside the reefer room to actually have a visual inspection and to be sure that there is no ice on the evaporator, otherwise the compressors will work overtime and they can overload and maybe they will burn. So I have to be sure that everything is in good order. Inside the reefer room there is an alarm. In case someone gets stuck in there, you just press that alarm and there will ring an alarm on the bridge and inside the galley, so somebody will come there and rescue you. And then I proceed at the bottom floor of the engine room to check the MGPS system, which is a special system that protects the hull of the vessel from algae and marine animals. And I also have to check the ICCP system. This is the cathodic protection of the hull of the ship. I take a special journal, and at the end of the month I have to give it to the chief engineer and he has to send it forward to the maker of the system, and then we will get a reply if everything is in good order. And then I proceed to check the shaft grounding device. This is very important for the bearing of the shaft of the main engine. It's a system that is making the grounding between the hull of the ship and the shaft of the bearing of the main engine with some special carbon brushes. So as you can imagine, it's important. My next job was to do some maintenance on the sterilizing system. This is a special system designed for ships to clean the fresh water that we use for cooking, for shower, for the toilet, and also for drinking. This is the water that is made by the freshwater generator. Also can be taken from shore, so you never know if it's taken from the shore, you never know from where they really bring this, so the sterilizing system becomes more important. This is a Japan-made sterilizer because the ship is Japanese. As you can see, it's a very simple design with some filters and also some UV lamps. Every month I have to clean the filters like you see me doing now, and every 3 months I have to replace that cartridge, that filter. I have to put a new one, and also I clean the sterilizing systems. There are 2 UV lamps in this system, and I just clean them every month and check the condition if they are working properly. And if there are no issues according to the maker, I have to replace them completely every 6 months. So even if they are working, every 6 months the maker is recommending that you replace them. And as you can imagine, the UV system is very important because it will kill any bacteria that may be in the water. If you have some rust or anything like that, okay, your body can handle it, but if you have some deadly virus, it will be a very big issue for any crew member in the middle of the ocean because we do not have a doctor on board. My next job was to assist the engine crew with troubleshooting the volumeter for the boiler. I disconnected the electrical part and they took it in the engine workshop to check what is the problem. And then I proceed to do some electrician job because I am an electrician, so I have to take care also of the lighting inside the engine room. This is an easy job, but as you can imagine, if the ship is rolling, if you have 20-25 degrees rolling, then even an easy job like this can become difficult. Luckily this was a peaceful day, there were no storms outside, so this took me only a few minutes. And of course, after a job well done, I deserve a little break. There are 2 coffee breaks on board the ship. There is one from 10 o'clock to 10:20, and there is another one from 1500 to 1520. About 20-25 minutes of coffee time, tea time. You can have a biscuit, you can just relax for a little bit. Of course, if there are no emergencies or there is no standby. Sometimes I come in the accommodation in the officer mess room, or I go with the guys in the ratings mess room. Sometimes I stay in engine room. In the engine control room we have aircon there, and usually the messman will bring for us, for the engineers, some biscuits or some snacks, because sometimes we have so much job to do, we do not even have time to come back all the way up to the accommodation, to the officer mess room, and we don't want to make a mess. But if there are no emergencies, like I said, we go up to enjoy ourselves. And since I went to the officer mess room for my coffee time, the chief cook saw me and he told me there is a busted bulb inside the meat room, and of course I always comply with the demands of the chief cook, because from my point of view the chief cook is the most important guy on board. If you do not have good food in your stomach, you will not have power to do your job, and you will not be in a mood to do anything. And I replaced the busted bulb. I double checked the evaporator to see that there is no ice, and then I start the reefers. Of course, when I go inside to do some maintenance, I stop them because there is minus 17 degrees inside. Since the weather was very nice outside, I decided to clean the filters, the air filters for the aircon for the accommodation. These are easily cleaned by compressed air, and then I put some fresh water. I do not use any chemicals because I don't know if any crew member is allergic to anything, and this aircon will blow in every cabin on board, so you have to be careful. At captain's order, I had planned a bit of maintenance for the X-band radar. So since it was a good day, it was a sunny day, I asked the second officer to shut off the X-band radar because we were in the middle of the ocean, so there is no problem to stop it. And I replaced the magnetron. As you can see, it's a very beautiful day, it's sunny day, there is no storm, there are no winds, there is no issue with the weather. As you can imagine, you see me here working alone. I cannot hold an umbrella or anything like that. This is all electrical. They are exposed to the elements right now, and I have to be very careful in case there is a storm starting. I have to close everything, so I have to move very fast to complete this job as quick as possible, because the ship is moving and the weather can change any minute. And since I already started cleaning the air filters for the accommodation aircon, I asked our lovely motorman to assist me to clean the evaporator of the aircon, because there were some funny smells and I saw a little bit of dirt accumulated over there, so I asked him just to clean it a little bit. And also I cleaned the bearing. There was some grease from my previous guy. Our wonderful chief cook is always busy. Today he was making us some fish and also some mashed potatoes. Like I said before, this is not 5-star hotel, but at least we have something to eat, so it's fine. Another work day on board. When you are on board the vessel, there is always something to do. So after the toolbox meeting, as you can see, the ship is rolling a little bit, but still we have to work. After the toolbox meeting, I have done my rounds, checking the ICCP, the MGPS, and also the grounding shaft. I postponed this job, I cannot do it now, but I have decided when we will arrive in the port I will change those brushes because they seem to be already not doing a proper job. And also today I have decided to assist the third engineer to do the performance on the generators, on the diesel generators. This job is done once per month, and I have to assist him in the control room to put 2 generators in parallel. He will decide how much load I have to put on the generator. Usually it should be about 70 or 80% of the maximum load, but whatever he decides I have to do, and I want to show you here a little bit. I will do a separate vlog about the performance of the diesel generators, so stay tuned for that if you are interested, if you are a mechanical engineer. After we have completed the performance of the diesel generators, we went up on the accommodation for lunch. Today the chief cook made some shrimps. This is my favorite meal. I gave him a big hug for that. And after 1 o'clock, the third officer told me that one of the navigation lamps is burned on the starboard side. I went there to replace it. As you can see, I'm wearing a jacket. The weather is already changing. It's cold outside. You can expect that when you are on board. 1 week it's hot outside, the next week can be cold, depends where the ship is going. I was planning to go there to check the navigational lamps because I had some low insulation coming on the 220 line, and I was planning to check if there is any moisture in there. So I have replaced the lamp and I will continue with my job for the day. The engine crew was already busy in engine room opening one of the main air compressors, so I adjusted some pressure switches over there since it's already open. I got myself busy, and then another job that I have completed was cleaning the ICCP unit. Sometimes you can have dust inside and you can have low insulation. Something simple as that can give you a big headache, so better get ahead and just clean the dust before you get an alarm. And then I proceeded again on the bridge because the second officer on duty told me that the magnetic compass had no lighting. Now the weather was getting worse, and I asked him to assist me to finish as quick as possible because I was afraid the rain will start soon. It was very windy outside, but as you can see, this is an open circuit, and of course I do not want any water going inside because then I will have a low insulation on the 24-volt line, and that is the most difficult one to find. So better finish as quick as possible. Another day, another job to do on board. Now after I have finished the performance with the third engineer on the generators, I have decided to replace the air filters on the alternator because as I said before, if the dust accumulates over there you can have low insulation, and this is more complicated than the 220 line or 24 line when it's from the lighting system or something like that. On the alternator you have to take it out of the bus bar. It's a complicated system, so better do this maintenance on time. I usually do it every 2 weeks just to be sure that it's less job for me, you know. It's not always planned jobs like you have seen before. Sometimes, especially in engine room, when you are working with so many machinery, you have unexpected troubleshooting, and this was the case for generator number 2. The pressure switch for the cooling water was not showing anything on the computer in control room, so of course I had to replace it. Sometimes it's defective, sometimes you have salt which is getting stuck inside the pipe. The pipe is very small, and the salt can get in there, can accumulate very easily, so sometimes you have to replace it or just clean it out if you don't have any spare parts. After the replacement, the third engineer has to take a photo because we have to send to the company the jobs that we have completed in engine room, and also for the requisition to request new spare parts when it's the case, when you don't have any more spare parts on board. Sometimes they require photos. So now we are checking in the computer, everything is okay, and we can proceed. And after a week of hard work on board, the captain was nice enough to allow us to have a small party on board. It's not as easy as it sounds. He has to consult with the chief cook because When you are having a party on board, that means you are using more provisions. As you can imagine, when you are in the middle of the ocean, you have to ration your provisions to be enough for the next port. Anyway, when you are on board, you don't receive provisions in every port. It depends on the company. On this company, we receive provisions every 3 months. So of course, you have to ration everything. You cannot have a party every day, otherwise you will finish your provisions in 2 weeks and then you will have problems with the company. The Filipino guys, as you can see, they are very happy. They have already installed the karaoke machines. They are a big fan of the karaoke. So everyone is having a good time and we are trying to relax in the middle of the ocean. We are far away from our families, but we are trying to enjoy ourselves because we have made all these sacrifices to come here and make the money, and we have to enjoy a little bit. You cannot be depressed all the time. And we have ended a very good week with this beautiful sunset. Thank you very much for being here. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Maybe you want to subscribe to the channel. And for more questions, I wait for you in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for your attention and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.